Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you are new here. I'm Andrea.M. and this is Unsolved Down Under. The Flinders Highway, a remote stretch of road spanning 800 kilometres between Townsville and Mount Isa in Queensland. Sparsely travelled by most, it is mostly used for long-haul trucking runs, and in the 70s and 80s was also a popular location for backpackers and hitchhikers. Unfortunately, the Flinders Highway has also ended up with the notorious honour of being named the Highway of Death. With 12 confirmed disappearances along the route between 1970 and 2018, with only one case actually being solved and the other 11 suspected abductions and murders as of now remaining unsolved. But before we continue into the shadowlands of the Flinders Highway, if stories such as this, the paranormal, the unexplained, disasters, real crime and missing persons cases are of interest to you, then you've come to the right channel, because that's all that we do here. So if you could please do me the favour of hitting that like button, join the fam by pressing subscribe and ring the bell so that you never miss a video, and share it around on social media. That would be a huge help to me, as it is subscribers like your good selves that allow me to continue to grow my channel here on YouTube and bring you more content just like this. With that out of the way, let's begin. The Flinders Highway, remote, not heavily travelled, and hiding many dark secrets. From 1970 up until 2018, 12 people have mysteriously disappeared without a trace. Police believe there to be a serial killer frequenting the route, and possibly more than one. The Flinders Highway, with its many kilometres of unoccupied land and bush, presents the perfect opportunity for a serial killer, or killers, to operate in complete secrecy. Locals living along the Flinders Highway would even be heard to say, if you want to catch a ride along that stretch of road, don't ever do it at night. The highway is a dangerous stretch of road during the day. At night, it takes on an even more sinister atmosphere. Police have gone on to say they believe a thrill killer or killers to operate the lonely stretch of road, but the claims have so far not been proven. With travellers still disappearing to this day, something evil lurks along that lonely stretch of highway. The Flinders Highway disappearances that we know of began in 1970 with the SA and murder of two innocent little girls, the Makai Sisters. On the 26th of August 1970, 7-year-old Judith Makai and her 5-year-old sister Susan vanished from a bus stop on Ross River Road in Townsville on their way to school. Their bodies were found 2 days later. They had both been indecently assaulted, stabbed, strangled and left in Anthill Creek, just off the Flinders Highway. On the day they went missing, a woman living at an Aikenville hostel near the bus stop saw the girls getting into a brown 1963 or 1964 Holden sedan with a distinctive grey-blue mismatched driver's side door. The car was seen again parked at Anthill Creek around the time of the murders. The driver was described as 5'9", 35 years old, dark-haired, grubby and wearing a white shirt. In 1998, Crime Stoppers received a call from a victim of serial paedophile Arthur Stanley Brown, who suspected he was involved in the murder. Brown would take many of his victims to Anthill Creek to be molested. In one instance, to a location only 20 metres from where the Makai sisters were found. Shortly after the murders, he also replaced an odd-coloured door from his blue Vauxhall Victor and buried it. He told his family he only did this because, he just didn't want the police bothering him. Brown was eventually charged with the Makai sisters' murders in 1999, but the jury were unable to reach a decision. He was declared unfit for a retrial due to dementia and died only a year later. 2 years later, a pair of teenage girls would also go missing on this eerie stretch of road. On the 4th of July 1972, 18-year-old Robin Hoynville Bartram and 19-year-old Anita Cunningham were hitchhiking from Melbourne to Anita's mother's house in Beaumont when they disappeared on the Flinders Highway. They were last seen leaving the Pentland Hotel, but never made it to their next stop in Charters Towers. 4 months later, on the 15th of November 1972, Robin's body was found in a shallow grave approximately 80 kilometres west of Charters Towers in Sensible Creek, under a bridge on the Flinders Highway. She had been essayed and shot twice through the top of her head with a .22 caliber rifle. Anita's body, as of yet, has never been found. Several infamous predators have been linked to the crime, including serial killer Ivan Milat, Arthur Stanley Brown, and whiskey or go-go killer John Andrew Stewart, but the case remains unsolved. A $250,000 reward for information is still unclaimed. Following Robin and Anita, in 1975 was 18-year-old Catherine Graham. Catherine was seen selling educational books door-to-door in Townsville on the evening of the 29th of July 1975. At 8:19 p.m, Catherine had called her mother from a Townsville phone box. During the conversation, she told her mother that she didn't like the look of a man standing nearby. Sadly, her body was found later in Anthill Creek, just 500 metres from where the Makai Sisters' bodies were found 5 years earlier. In 2019, the Queensland Cold Case Investigation Team announced another $250,000 reward and indemnity from prosecution to help generate new leads. Sadly, so far there have been no new leads in Catherine's case. And following the tragic murder of Catherine was the Spear Creek killings in 1978. In October 1978, 23-year-old Karen Edwards, 31-year-old Gordon Twaddle and 21-year-old Timothy Thompson disappeared near Mount Isa during a motorcycle trip from Cairns to Melbourne. The trio were last seen getting into a Toyota Land Cruiser with an unidentified male at Moondarra Caravan Park on the 5th of October 1978. They left their motorcycles and Tim's beloved dog at the campsite. On the 24th of October 1978, a dog walker found Karen's body propped up against a tree in Spear Creek, 10 kilometres north of Mount Isa. Police later found the bodies of Timothy and Gordon against other trees in the area. All three had been shot in the head with a .22 caliber rifle. Mount Isa local Bruce John Preston was caught with Timothy's motorbike, but claimed he had found it and was only charged with theft. 40 years later, police received reports of the mystery driver of the Land Cruiser that picked up the victims from the Moondarra Caravan Park was in fact Preston. Now a retired senior prison officer, his father had owned a vehicle matching the description, and Preston was allegedly also seen with the trio in the days before their disappearance. Preston was charged with the murders in 2019 and released on bail in 2020. After a judge found investigating officers overstated the evidence, whatever that means, and Preston denies the allegations. And our next victim of this terrible stretch of road really does pull at my heartstrings. Not that the others don't, particularly the two little girls. But this guy actually came up in one of my previous Real Crime Down Under episodes. And if his name and his photo is familiar to you, that will be why. So, Tony Jones went missing near Anthill Plains Creek, 25 kilometres south of Townsville in 1982. He was on the final leg of a 6-month working holiday hitchhiking around Australia. He told his father and his girlfriend he was going to meet his brother in Mount Isa, but he failed to arrive. Following the disappearance, his bank accounts were not touched, and no trace of him was ever found. In 1983, an anonymous letter was sent to police saying that Tony's body was located in the Fullerton riverbed near the Flinders Highway. After an extensive search, they found nothing, and law enforcement concluded that the letter was a very cruel hoax. A Mount Isa Correctional Centre inmate, Michael James Lordness, came forward in 2011 claiming to have killed Tony, but died before he could make an official statement. In 2014, the police received new information indicating Tony may have been murdered in Hughenden, but his body is still missing. There is a $250,000 reward also for information on Tony's disappearance. On the 23rd of September 2009, more than 20 years after the last Flinders Highway disappearance, Air Police Senior Sergeant Michael James Isles disappeared, and he was en route from his Air Police residence to a training course in Townsville. After Michael's wife raised the alarm that evening, a shotgun was found to be missing from the Isles family's gun safe, and an undated note was uncovered suggesting that he was thinking of taking his own life. His family believed this was written during his cancer treatment. Michael's disappearance followed 2 dark periods of his life where he was accused but cleared of misconduct and also had been diagnosed with cancer. He had only returned to work following extended sick leave 2 days before he disappeared. His car was later found in an abandoned creek bed on an isolated property off the Flinders Highway. The car contained his uniform and a near-empty box of shotgun cartridges, but no sign of the missing shotgun or Michael. The state coroner confirmed that Michael had ended his own life, but with extensive police searches of the area failing to locate his body, speculation continues about what happened to Michael. On the 21st of September 2017, 26-year-old Rhys Kearney stopped to fill up his 2012 Bonneville Triumph motorcycle at a roadhouse in Charters Towers, and he also has not been seen or heard from since. At the time of his disappearance, Rhys was living with his parents in Gelatin. He was reportedly in an agitated state after attending the funeral of a close friend who had passed away suddenly. His mother returned home to find her motorbike missing, along with Rhys. Rhys's family believed he was travelling to Normanton to see his brother and may have had a crash along the way. The missing motorbike was located on the 8th of February at a Telstra tower on the Newcastle Range, around 20 kilometres away from Georgetown. There was no trace of Rhys. And for now, we come to our final known disappearance. On New Year's Eve 2017, 22-year-old Newcastle man Jaden Penno Thompson was driving to Cairns with a friend. The two would get into an argument in the early hours of the morning, and Jaden pulled over at Stockroute Road and stormed off. His friend moved into the driver's seat and drove away, but later returned to try and find him. His friends and family didn't immediately report him missing, as they thought he was just hitchhiking to the next destination, having been angry with his friend. Extensive ground and air searches in the days after Jaden's disappearance failed to locate any sign of him. His bank and social media accounts have remained inactive. Several persons of interest have attracted the attention of the Queensland Police in the years following each disappearance as suspects in the homicides and the abductions. And we have just 2 or 3 of them here, and one of them was a man named Aubry. In 2014, incarcerated killer Andy Aubry confessed to 14 murders along the highway between 1970 and 1982, but there was little evidence to support the claims. Many of the murders occurred when he was a child and are unlikely to have been of his doing. And we rotate back around to Arthur Stanley Brown. In 1999, after a victim of serial pedophile Arthur Stanley Brown came forward with long-held suspicions, Brown was charged in 1970 with the murders of the Makai Sisters, as we explored earlier, and the trial resulted in a hung jury. He was declared unfit for retrial, as we said, and he died of dementia, of course, in 2002. Brown is also a suspect in the disappearance of the Beaumont children from Glenelg Beach in Adelaide in 1966. And I have actually done a whole Missing Down Under on the disappearance of the Beaumont children. If you haven't seen it yet, I will leave a link in the description box below so that you can go back and watch the disappearance of the Beaumont children and Arthur Stanley Brown's suspected involvement in that case. So then we move on to Bruce John Preston, a retired prison officer from Goulburn Correctional Centre. Bruce John Preston was charged in 2019 with the 1970 murders of Karen Edwards, Timothy Thompson and Gordon Twaddle near Mount Isa. In January 2020, he was granted bail after the judge declared some of the evidence may have been exaggerated, as we explored before. Preston goes on to deny any involvement in the murders. While it's unlikely the deaths and missing persons cases along the Flinders Highway are the result of a single predator, the proximity of the incidents is cause for further investigation. Rather than the work of a serial person, the highway is a serial place, meaning the only commonality linking victimology is the location itself. As the victims range in age from 5 to 58 years, encompassing both genders and varied causes of death. Mapping and analysing the movements of each victim can uncover hidden patterns to help law enforcement understand why victims and predators repeatedly cross paths on this isolated stretch of road. A better understanding of the area may help to solve these decades-old cold cases, but also may help to increase the safety of future travellers on the Flinders Highway. As always, if you have any information that may assist Queensland Police in solving any of the cases featured in today's video, please call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000 and you may remain anonymous. And that brings us to the end of today's Unsolved Down Under. I'd love to hear your thoughts and theories on today's cases, so leave your comments below. I'd be interested to know your thoughts. And as always, please keep your comments respectful to each other and respectful towards me. Let's keep YouTube a nice, happy place for everybody that we can all continue to enjoy. And thank you all so much again for watching. Thank you also to my lovely subscribers that have been wishing me well with my health problems of late. I'm still working through what I can and can't eat, but I am feeling a lot better already. So thank you guys all so much for the lovely messages of support. I so appreciate each and every one of you. It's just nice to know that people care about how I'm doing, and I really appreciate it. On my little journey, I'll just throw this in so you guys know where I'm at. I actually got on to a specialist online who deals with histamine intolerance, and the number one thing that she said for me to try was Tulsi tea. And Tulsi tea is a tea made from holy basil or Tulsi basil, and it actually helps to get rid of all the inflammation in your body and helps to stop like the histamine reactions. It actually blocks the histamine receptors, and also nettle tea to help with the gastric esophageal reflux that you get from having histamine intolerance. So I've been on the Tulsi for about 3 days and I'm feeling so much better. If I have a flare-up, it's so great. I simply get to go make myself a cup of tea, and within about 5 minutes the pain stops and I'm feeling much better. I also still need to be very careful about what I eat. I'm still having the occasional flare-up, but not as bad, and the nettle tea is helping remarkably with the reflux in actually switching that off and stopping that horribly uncomfortable sensation from happening, so I can finally eat properly and get a good night's sleep, which I haven't been able to probably within the last 3 to 4 weeks. So yes, I'm feeling much better, and thank you all so much for checking on me and sending me your support messages. I've been very sick, so it really did mean a lot, and it did brighten my day quite a bit. So anyway, that's my little update on my health, feeling much better. Until next time, stay safe everyone. Please don't travel the Flinders Highway if you can help it. Not a place I'll be holidaying to anytime soon, nor travelling on. So anyway, stay safe everybody, stay happy, and much love to you all. And I will see you all again very soon in my next video. Bye.